Fourth grade lesson 3.5 is multiply with regrouping. So now finally, now that your brain is recognizing that all those pieces, all those parts need to be multiplied together to get that final product, now we're going to use that standard algorithm you will use when you're dealing with big numbers and multiplying. It's a build off of the regrouping one you learned in chapter 2. Now we're just adding to that, one more piece to that for you to be able to use. And you will use this algorithm anytime you need to multiply with multiple digits when you don't have a calculator. So this is the one that you'll use most of the time. Let's get into this. All right, so just to refresh your memory on the multiplying with regrouping, we had learned in the previous lesson that to multiply with regrouping, we were using this algorithm. We worked our way up to this and then finally got to this algorithm where we said, oh, okay, I'm going to do my ones columns first. 5 times 2 is 10. Oh, but 10's too big, so I regroup. There's my 10 now. And then I will do 5 times 3 is 15 plus 1 more is 16. And so there is my product 160. Okay, bring that idea back into your mind because we're using that same idea, but now we're applying it to when we have two-digit numbers or more. It applies even when there's more. We'll get to that later. Let's look at the question. By 1914, Henry Ford had streamlined his assembly line to make a Model T Ford car in 93 minutes. How many minutes did it take to make 25 Model Ts? We underline the question. How many minutes did it take to make 25 Model Ts? Circle information. He's making 25 of them. And for each one car, it took 93 minutes to make one car. So we have 93 minutes to make one car, and then another, and then another, and then another, over and over again, 25 times. We don't want to do that repeated addition, right? We'd rather just multiply that as a shortcut. So we're going to do 93 times 25. Let's do the estimate. 93 falls between 90 and 100. And it's closer to 90 than it is 100 because that 3 is a stay number. So we're going to call that 90. 25 falls between the numbers 20 and 30. Right in the middle, that 5 is an up number though, so we'll round it up to 30. And now we have 90 times 30. 9 times 3 is 27 with 2 zeros on the end. See how much faster you're getting at that? With practice, that just happens in your head. Okay. Now we know that our answer should be somewhere around 2,700. So if I go calculating and I end up with 23, my brain can go, oh, that's not right. Okay. They want us to think of 93 as 9 tens and 3 ones. 9 tens and 3 ones. And they want us to go ahead and ignore the 9 tens for right now and just multiply the 3 ones times 25. Just like we did here. So we're doing the 25 times 3, and we're completely ignoring that 9 for right now. We're using this algorithm, completely ignoring the 9, all right? So we'll do 3 times 5, which is 15. And then we will do 3 times 20, or 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and we're already over in the tens column. So that was 6 with a 0 on the end plus 7. So 7 with a 0 on the end, but we're already in there. That's what was nice about that. So 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And so there we have 75 for the 25 times 3. You probably could have done that in your head anyway, though, right? 25 cents is a quarter, and 3/4, is 75 cents. Some of you might have been able to pull that one off. But there was the algorithm we had been using. 3 times 5, 15. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Okay. Now we've done that one. Now we're going to take the 9 tens and multiply it by the 25. Okay. So what you'll hear people say, because we know this is 90, right? So we've got that 0 there. Put the placeholder there. Put the 0 down right away. I'm going to make that a darker color. Put the 0 down right away so you don't forget. Because then I see so often that kids will forget that 0 when they go multiplying, and then they get the wrong product. They did all that work to get the wrong product. So first things first, get that 0 on there, and then you don't have to worry about remembering it again. We'll do the 9 times 5, because we already put the 0 there. 9 times 5 is 45. 45. And then the 9 times 2 is 18 plus 4 more, 19, 20, 21, 22. And then we add those partial products together. 7 plus 5 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. And then 2 for our final answer, 2,325, which is pretty close to our estimate of 2,700. So that's a reasonable answer. This one's going to take a little bit of practice, but we'll do that. We'll get the practice until you feel good. And I like what this part of your book explains too. You can use different ways to multiply, but still get the same answer. There's a lot of times in math, there's different paths you can take to get there, but you can still get there. So we have Sean who multiplied 67 times 40 this way, and Patty who multiplied it this way, but look at, they both got the same answer. It looks like Sean said, oh, 67 is 60 plus 7. And I'm going to multiply that times, both of those times 40, that partial product thing going on. And then that will give me my final answer. And Patty, she just used the regrouping that you are just learning in this lesson. And she did 0 times 7 is 0, 0 times 6 is 0. Then she put that placeholder because now she's going to multiply that 40 and she doesn't want to worry about forgetting that 0. So she put it there. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 6 is 24. Plus 2 more is 26. And then she added all of that together and got 2,680. So Patty used regrouping and got this answer. Sean used partial products and got this answer. They used different paths, but they both made it to the same destination. So that's the nice thing about math, is a lot of times there's several paths to get there. Okay, number 1 on our share and show kind of walks us through in words what's going on here. And I'll probably rewrite it down here too so we can see it all happen as we go. This may help some of you. This might confuse some of you. It just depends. We're all very different. Hopefully for most of you, it's a help sort of scenario. We're doing 27 times 60. That's what we're going to do. And by the way, I would real quick do an estimate. 27 falls between 20 and 30. I'll round it to 30. 30 times 60. Well, 3 times 6 is 18 with 2 zeros on the end. My answer should be somewhere around 1,800-ish, right? Okay. To use the regrouping scenario, I'm going to totally ignore the tens column here and just focus on the ones column here, and I'll do both of these parts times that. So 0 times 7 is 0, and 0 times 2 is 0. And now this ones column is done. In fact, I very frequently cross that off when I'm done with it. I do that to help make sure my brain knows what's going on. So it says multiply the 0 and 27 to get 0. That's what they're telling us about here, and that's what we did. We multiplied the 0 times the 27. Now we're going to take this 60 and multiply it by the 27, right? This is 60 over here, 6 in the tens place. So we're going to do 60 times 27. And we'll do it in terms of the, like we did this one where we did times that and then that. But remember, this is 60. We had a 0 there. We have, 6 tens. This is 6 tens, right? So that you don't forget, go ahead and put that 0 right there. And then you don't have to worry about the 0 anymore. It's done. You can forget about it, and we can just do the multiplication. 6 times 7 is 42. And 6 times 2 is 12, plus 4, 13, 14, 15, 16. And then all we need to do is add the partial products here. 0 plus 0 is 0, 0 plus 2 is 2, and then 6, and then 1. 1,620 is the answer. So they were just verbally kind of walking us through. We're doing this 0 times 27 first. Then we will do the 60 the 6 tens here times 27 there, and then we'll add the partial products. We'll practice some. Okay, we have 68 times 53. Let's get that estimate first. 68 falls between 60 and 70, and that next number, the 8, is high up there, so that means this is closer to 70 than it is to 60, so we're going to round that up to a 70. Then we have 53. This is between 50 and 60. 3 doesn't get very high. It's lower than a 5, so we're going to round this down to 50. And when they're rounded like that, that makes them easy to multiply. 5 times 7 is 35 with 1, 2 zeros on the end. Whatever our answer is, it's going to be somewhere around 3,500. If it's way far away from that, we know we've made an error. So estimate 3,500. All right, now that we know around where the answer should fall, let's do the multiplication. Remember, we start by ignoring this tens place. We're going to focus on the ones place first and do both parts just like we did in chapter 2, completely ignoring that 5 for right now. So we will do 3 times 8. 3 times 8 is 24, and that's big. It won't fit in that ones column by itself, so we carry over, we regroup 24. Then we're going to do the 3 times 6. 3 times 6 is 18, but don't forget your carryover of 2 more, so 18 plus 2 is 19, 20. 20 goes here. Like I said, I get in the habit of crossing off when I'm done with that ones column. It helps my brain make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, I've done the 3 times 68. Now I'm going to do the 5 tens times 68. Remember, that is 5 tens. So I need to address the fact that I'm in the tens column by using this 0 here. Pushes everything over, and frequently, just to kind of tell myself this is why I'm doing it, I'm crossing across that ones column into the tens column, and so I put that X through that 0. So 5 times 8 is 40, and I'm going to cross that off so I don't confuse it. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 4 makes 34. Add those partial products together, and I got 3,604, which is reasonably close to 3,500. So that sounds right. Let me show you a common error that happens is people will forget to put this 0 when they're saying, oh, I'm multiplying over here now, this is 5 tens, and they don't put the fact that they're working out of the tens column, and they forget that. And if I had forgotten that, look what happens to my answer. I would have had this 204, and I would have forgotten that, so this would have slid over, and I would have gotten 544. And that at that point, my brain should have gone, wait, what? That's nowhere close to 3,500. My answer was supposed to be somewhere around 3,500, and that is nowhere close to it. So that's why it's good to estimate to help you catch any errors. Don't forget this guy. Okay, maybe you're ready to try this one without me and pause the video. Maybe not. It's up to you. Doesn't hurt to try, right? All right, I'm going to get my rounding done for my estimate. 61 falls between 60 and 70, but this is way closer to 60 than it is to 70. I'm rounding that to 60. And 54 falls between 50 and 60. 4 is a little lower than halfway, so I'm going to round it down to 50. Multiply those together. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 2 zeros. 30 plus 2 zeros on the end means that my estimate, my answer, my product should be somewhere around 3,000-ish. So my estimate helps me see about how much this should be. Okay, let's do the ones place first. We're going to ignore the 5, the 5 tens. Just the ones place first. And we're going to do 4 times 1 and then 4 times 6, just like we did in chapter 2, if we're pretending that this doesn't exist right now. 4 times 1 is 4. And 4 times 6 is 24. Okay, cross off that ones column. We're done with it now. And because we're moving over to the tens column, put that 0 on the tens column that we're moving over to. And if you feel like it, you can cross that off if it reminds you, yes, I put that there. Yes, I did. There it is. Check, right? Okay, now we'll just go ahead and do the same thing that we did here, but now from the tens column. 5 times 1 is 5, and 5 times 6 is 30. Add those together, and I get 3,294, which is fairly close to the 3,000 estimate. So my brain could go, yeah, that sounds about right. Okay. If I had forgotten this guy and just had done 244 and I forgot to put that placeholder because I was working out of the tens column here, I would have ended up with an answer of 549, which is way far from that. And so hopefully my brain would have said, wait, that's not right. That's not right. I missed this guy. Sometimes I catch that mistake simply because I know that what the estimate should be. Okay, final practice one. Give this one a try and see how you do. And then push play when you're ready. I'm going to do my estimate. 90 is already rounded. That's fine. I'm going to leave 90 rounded as it is. 27 is between 20 and 30. That 7 is a higher number, an up number, so I'll round that up to 30. So my rounding numbers are 90 and 30. 9 times 3 is 27 with 2 zeros on the end. Whatever my answer is, it should be right around 2,700-ish, right around there. Now let's go ahead and take our steps. Remember, we start with our ones column. Completely ignore the tens column right now. Don't even think about them. Just the ones column. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 9 is 63. And now that I have finished everything in my ones column, now I can give some attention to my tens column. But remember, since I'm jumping over into my tens column, let's deal with that placeholder, that 0 that we know is there on that tens column, and put it down. Okay, now we can go ahead and do our regular calculations. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 9 is 18. Now both numbers have been done. I can add my partial product. 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 plus 0 is 3. 6 plus 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 14. And 1 plus 1 is 2. 2,430, which is reasonably close to that. So I'm on track. That is a good product, a reasonable answer. 2,430. Again, if I'd forgotten this guy, it's a very common mistake that we just have to pay close attention to, and this estimate might save us from that. If I'd forgotten this guy, I would have ended up with an answer like 0, 8, 9, 10, 11, 6, 7, 810, which is super far from that. So that would have been, at least this could have made you go, that doesn't seem right. It should be closer to 2,700-ish, somewhere around there. This one is 2,000 something, right? We're much closer here. So don't forget that as soon as you go to this second row, as soon as you come across and you finish your ones column, you go to your tens column, put that 0 for the tens column. And if there was a hundreds column and we had to do a third digit here, then you would put 2 zeros for the hundreds column and then multiply like that. That's coming at you later. Not yet. For now, we're just 2 digit with 2 digit until you get the hang of it. Practice in this lesson. If you need more help, we'll work out a few more if necessary.